Hey everybody, it's Dana. Welcome back to my YouTube channel and blog. Today we're going to be playing with the Concord and 9th notable numbers stamp set. And we're going to be building up a beautiful birthday card. So let's go ahead and get started. I need to have my MISTI when I do this card because I'm going to share with you how I make my cards buildable by laying everything down at once. So this is a frame that comes in this stamp set. So first I'm going to place that down onto my cardstock. This cardstock is 80-pound Neenah Solar White cardstock. I'm going to go ahead and put that in place. And next I'm going to start building in my sentiments. Now I found after playing with this stamp set that this to me is the easiest way for me to build up a beautiful card and having all of my elements right in the correct places. So as you can see, I'm placing all of my sentiments exactly where I want them inside of that dotted frame. Next, I'm going to come in and add my numbers. Now you will see that there is some staining to these numbers, but that's okay. It does not affect the stamping at all. Just on some inks that you use, it will stain your stamps, but rest assured it's not going to damage them. Now, since I have everything in place where I want it, I know everything's going to be centered right in the middle of that frame, and I know I won't be off. If I were to do this separately, I fear I might mess this up. So this is why I'm placing everything down first, and using my MISTI gives me the opportunity to pick everything up at once. So I'm going to press that down, and now I know everything's going to be lined up on my card. All right, so for my inks today, I'm going to be using Hero Arts Wet Cement, and I'm going to tap that all the way around the border. Now this card is going to be triple colored, so I'm just adding one color at a time. So I'm very lightly going around, and then I'm going to take a rag, and I'm just going to go over the elements that I don't want stamped in this color, just to be sure that I'm not going to have any color transfer. Now this ink is really light, so even if I did make an error with this, it really wouldn't be a big deal because the colors I'm coming in with next are a little bit darker. So now I can go ahead and press that down, and I know that my frame's going to be there. Now, like I said, this ink is a little bit light, and I actually want this ink color to be a little bit darker. Now, I have a board on my Pinterest that I have beautiful color combinations. So when I'm kind of stuck and I don't know what colors I want to use for a card, I always go back to that color board, and that helps me decide on what colors are going to look great on my cards. So again, I'm just cleaning off all around what is left on there that I did not stamp and making sure that ink is not touching any of that. I can go ahead and press down again, just making sure I get everything done this go around, and that looks a lot better to me. I like that deeper gray color. Now, since I'm finished with the frame, I can go ahead and remove that off of my MISTI because I don't need it anymore. Next, I'm coming in with Skylight, and this is a gorgeous shade of blue. I'm doing the same exact thing. I'm coming in and I'm just adding the ink to what I want to have this blue color. Again, I'll grab my rag and make sure that I'm not hitting on any of those other letters, or in this case, numbers, just cleaning that off. And then I can go ahead and swing my MISTI lid closed, and I'll be able to have my second color down. Now, like again, you can, if you want to, stamp these separately, but I just felt it was easier for me if I laid everything down at once and just remove the stamps I no longer needed once I had them on my card. So there's my cheers to. I can go ahead and clean that off and then remove those sentiments that I no longer need. So this is allowing me to make sure, like I said, everything is lined up. Next, I'm coming in with Rockin Red, and I'm going to go ahead and tap that onto my numbers. Now you can see there was a little halo effect from that I didn't clean my stamp good the first time, but that's okay because I'm coming in with a darker color and it's going to cover up that. So I'm going to go ahead and press down. And now I have all three of my colors perfectly in place where I want them. And I have a beautiful start to my card. Next, I'm going to come in with the matching die cuts. Now, these are sold separately from the stamp set. And I just want to pop up that cheers to 60 years up off of that panel. So I'm still going to keep that frame around everything, but I just want to allow that part of my card to pop up. I'm using a little bit of washi tape to hold everything in place, and then I can run this through my die cut machine. Now, since I have everything cut out, I'm going to go ahead and pull that aside. And now if I just wanted to use that piece by itself, it would be beautiful. But I do want to still keep that border piece. So I'm just being very gentle when I'm pulling off that washi tape that I don't rip anything. Now I've cut down my frame. And now I have my insert. And just allowing that to pop a little bit gives the card a different look. Next, I'm going to come in and do a background. I felt like this was just a little bit too simplistic for me. So I'm going to go all the way around the edges of this card and stamp down some random designs. Okay, to make this design, I'm using the All Seasons Turnabout stamp set, but I'm just using some of the smaller pieces or the smaller elements of this stamp set. This is going to allow me to make a nice little random design, or really actually my own background. So if you have this stamp set, you can definitely use the turnabout part of it, or you can also use those singular pieces that they have and create your own background. I went ahead and I pulled back in the panel that I'm going to put on the front of this card just to make sure that I have everything I need on the outside of this. This is going to make sure that I have all the areas that I need to be filled in with these little designs. So in this case, I'm using the little flower and the little leaf that is included in this stamp set. And I do believe there's a heart as well as a little circle or like a polka dot. All right, now since that's done, I can go ahead and put this on a card base. Now I did test out the color on this because the wet cement is the ink color and the card panel itself is fog. And I wanted to just make sure that those two colors were going to play nicely together. Now, since I have that trimmed down, I can place that onto a 110-pound Neenah Solar White card base, because that's usually the bases I go with when I make my cards. Now, for the frame, I want this frame to be flat on my card. So I'm also going to pull out my liquid adhesive for this. And I'm using liquid adhesive because it gives me the opportunity to move around this frame before I actually commit to where I need it to be. So using a liquid adhesive instead of like my runner, my tape runner, is going to make sure that I can get everything lined up onto this card panel. And what I like about this adhesive, it gives you a little bit of wiggle room. It does not dry like super quickly. So I'm able to move things around on this card panel before I actually commit to where I want it to be. So now since everything's lined up, I can go ahead and press that down. And now for my piece that I trimmed out or I cut out with my die, I want that to be popped up on the panel. So I'm using just my 3M double-sided foam tape. Now I really could have cut out a matching sheet of fun foam, but I did not have it handy. So I just go to what I normally would do, and that's to use my double-sided tape. I'm just going to add a couple more strips onto this panel just to make sure that everything is raised evenly, and when I send this off in the mail, I'm not going to have those areas that are going to bow down or sink down because I don't have enough tape on the back. Now I can just go ahead and pull that off and center that into the middle of my frame. Now this will give my card just a tad bit of dimension, but it's not going to be really thick where I need to have added postage to send this off. So I can line that up right in the middle of my frame, and I have most of my card done. Now I do want to add a few sequins with this. Now I don't want to go overboard because I don't want it to compete with my background, but I did feel that the card was just a tad bit too simplistic for me. So I decided to pull out some matching sequins and add this, just a few of them, to just the top part of this card panel. So I'm going to grab a couple of blues, and then I'm also going to grab a red. I like to put down my sequins in odd numbers. So I'm using just one red and two of the blues, and that's going to finish off this card panel. It's really clean and simple, but I did want just a tad bit of sparkle because I'm sending this card to my sister-in-law, and I think she'll enjoy it better that way. All right, everybody, that is the card for today. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. Don't forget, if you liked the video, give me a thumbs up. Also, hit that bell so you know when my next video is live. I'll see you guys in another video soon. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.